Welcome to one more episode here at the Neuro Productivity. Always remembering that here we talk about letting your life be in the evidence. Today I have the pleasure of speaking to one of the most fascinating people that I've met in my life, who is Adriana Machado. She's the founder of BRIA Institute and the former president and CEO of GE Brazil. Adriana, welcome to Neuroproductivity Podcast. It's a pleasure receiving you here today.
Thank you, Edel. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you as well.
I was like even nervous to start this conversation, even though it's such a pleasure to receiving you here, and it's great to becoming part of all of this process that I've been through. I don't know, maybe 5 years, 5 or 6 years.
I've lost count, but it's every conversation is an engaging and enlightening conversation. So it's always good to be able to have a conversation with you. Many conversations already.
Thank you so
and
much
many
for
more
being
to come.
here. Yeah. Then let me start with something that I left you with a challenge. For this year, I know that you've been part of so many other programs like the forum or the Water Forum that I had the pleasure of having you here, having you there
conversation too.
At the Nação Empreendedora in Brazil.
Yes.
And it was an amazing time. But this year, at the Professional of the New Era event that is going to come, that is every March of the year, I'm in. Wow, I get nervous.
So relax.
Every March in Miami, I invited you for a challenge, a 7-minute presentation.
I love that kind of challenge. Yes.
And the most important thing, you're gonna lose all the control of the presentation because the slides will be automatic and you have to let the show or the presentation flows. How do you feel about it?
I love it. As I said, it's good to be challenged and it's good to let it flow. So it's a good challenge.
Yeah, beautiful.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and can you give us like maybe something that is gonna come during the presentation?
Oh, some spoilers, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, to be honest with you, I haven't finished the presentation yet. So I started thinking about it and I have to decide what comes because just like the presentation itself will flow on stage, the preparation is flowing based on what's emerging because those are concepts that I think are very important in the world today. So what I do is to focus on leadership. So something about leadership for sure. Probably some tips on how to navigate complexity, because I think that the world is getting complex, more complex than before, because we're evolving. It's natural. It's part of life. But sometimes we not knowing and not embracing this complexity leads to overwhelm, to burnout, to conditions that are not so healthy, right? So I'm all about health now. I've always been, but now more than ever after I've had the diagnosis of breast cancer and had to go through treatment. So this is like front and center for me. But I think that leadership can be healthier than it has been. So it's going to be about leadership. It's going to be about complexity. It's going to be about health and life.
Yeah,
for sure.
Beautiful, because at the end of the day, it's all about also behind the scenes where we talk here in neuroproductivity. That it's not about working more or doing more or producing more, but actually there's a coherence behind it.
Coherence is another important topic of conversation and probably a word I'm going to use in the conversation as well, because coherence is very important.
Beautiful. Especially, I was talking, as I've been recording other podcasts, and I was talking to the previous interviewer about you before you arrived.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was something that I really like about BRIA Institute is that everything is interconnected and we need to be seeing systems. Can you
elaborate
something about
topic.
Seeing or how can we see systems?
Yeah. Even before that, we talk about change. We talk about transformation. We talk about changing the world or being change agents. But in order to understand what we can do and how we can do it, we need to be able to see what's going on, to understand. So I always say that in order to change systems, you have to be able to see systems.
Exactly.
And that's not me. That's all those systems thinkers that came before me, like Jen Jacob Stam and many others. So what I try to share at Bria, and I have been doing that with the CEO MetaMaster program, and you've been with me along the way since 2020.
How many classes?
Well, I think we had 17 cohorts
17
total.
cohorts.
Yeah, and you've been in all of the 17
Yes.
cohorts and the face-to-face. So
Yes. I love it.
And what we did with that program was to show people what systems are, how to see systems, how to intervene in systems better, and to avoid all of those unintended consequences. At least be aware that they exist, that there are ripple effects, that there are consequences. And depending on how you look at it, if you look at it in an old, fashioned, linear way, you might be causing more harm than good. So it's important to see systems, to change systems in a good way, to promote the positive change, and to remember that everything is interconnected, just like you started saying when we started the conversation.
Yeah, and besides going back to the conversation that I was having with this other person, it was when I was sharing it, she was saying, "Yeah, tell me more because that is so interesting." And she's a professional. She has an attorney, and she's from in this, I would say, very professional corporate world, and she was very interested in knowing a little bit more, because especially when I said that when we see systems, it's from the shareholders to employees to vendors, including, and this is like the most beautiful thing that I see in the class, which is including the planet. And when we see
As
the
a
planet
stakeholder.
as a stakeholder, this is an amazing thing that Bria brings.
Yeah.
And
in the corporate world, we talk about systemic problems that
Yeah.
we can't control. Yes, we can't control systems, and that's another property that's very important to understand to become a good leader. And also, when you look at the perspectives of the ones involved, like the stakeholders, which is another jargon word for corporate world, it's important that you include all of the stakeholders. You don't leave anybody alone. And the ecology, the planet, all the natural world around us is a stakeholder too, because we're not only causing harm or good, depending on what we're doing, but we can learn from it.
yeah,
So one thing that I love, and you know that I love this, is biomimicry.
I know it, and I was about to ask you a question about it, because I remember the last event. I mean, not the last event, the live event that we had in Miami.
Oh, that's
Bria
for
Institute
the new
brought,
program.
and it
Higher
was.
wisdom for a tech world.
We are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I remember that we started seeing plants and seeing nature. And by looking at nature, we could bring things for our real world.
Yeah. So I think it's almost 3 decades now, probably close to that Janine Benyus wrote a book about biomimicry that popularized the term, because this is an old understanding, but she brought it to something more tangible and created a course. And there is a master's that you can do at Arizona State University, and she has a not-for-profit and an advisory. So she's been doing a lot
But
of good
this is
work.
something that we go deeper at Bria Institute.
Yeah, no, she goes deeper there. We touched the surface, but what we brought in terms of what the experience we brought to Bria is we partnered with the Biomimicry Institute, and they offered a good facilitator and speaker to us, Tina Miller. She was amazing. And she not only brought the concept of biomimicry, but we did some practical walk through the site, and we exercised. So the theory was there and the practice was there. So we put it in practice. And this was a very tangible way to learn from nature. So what biomimicry is, you see nature as mentor, as model, as measure. You promote you look for the principles of life, and you create conditions that are conducive to life. So this is a lens for seeing the world. This is a lens for doing business. This is a lens for innovation.
Yeah. And isn't it amazing that in a corporate world, I mean, because both of us, we came from the corporate, and exchanging or moving to and that's what I've been calling the new era, is that professional that is beyond only in that space and see everything.
Because it's a lens, it's a way to see the world.
is.
It's really connected to values and beliefs, which you talk about all the time, right? So it's not only seeing resources, it's not seeing
It's too small, right?
it's just small. It's just small. And it's understanding and acknowledging that we are part of this much bigger thing, which is the living systems and planet Earth and the cosmos. And it's all alive. So it's having this concept of living thinking or living things and dead things and dead, thinking.
What I can say is that, I mean, maybe we could have like probably dozens of podcasts here because,
Yeah.
but I would like to open space for something else because it led me to another space from that you've been talking a lot at Bria Institute, especially when we talk about wisdom and tech, which is AI. So is there anything that you could share with us? Because I know there are things going on and lots of movement in terms of AI. And what would you share in terms of for us to expand?
So first, there's no coming back. AI is here to stay. It's all around us. It's already influencing decision making, but we need to know how to use it and what it stands for. And especially something that Yasuhiko Genko Kimura, one of our speakers, unfortunately he passed, but he left this legacy
It was beautiful,
of explaining to us the difference between machine intelligence and human intelligence. So AI is allopoietic. It depends on external factors to learn. And we, living systems, humans, we are autopoietic. We are self-generating. We learn in different ways. And our intelligence is much greater than the computational intelligence.
Wow.
And remember what he said? He said that after this era of reasoning and all of this tech going in that direction, there will be the era of imagination.
Yeah.
So we need to tap into this higher self, higher wisdom that is embodied with imagination and intuition and spirituality to be the full potential that we as humans are, to lead in a world of AI.
Yeah.
And remember, AI is artificial intelligence. We are living intelligence. So there is a difference there. And there's no fear of us being,
fear.
outplaced. I think that the fear is not a good place for decision. It's not a good place to make decisions out of fear, right? But understanding, going deeper, acknowledging, and bringing together, combining and using in collaboration to bring together something new that is better than what we have right now.
Wow. Yeah. All of this, I mean, I've heard so many times in all of these classes and cohorts, but it's amazing to see it and to make it like there is always something to learn.
Right. And to see it in a practical way,
It
because
is.
sometimes it gets too theoretical. So I love theories, and I've been learning more and more as I go. I love to study. I love to spend my birthdays studying, like
it was
last
amazing.
year with Nora Bateson, studying warm data. And warm data has all to do with the conversation
And thank
about...
you so much for the invitation. I loved that experience.
Oh, thank you for coming. It was amazing to be in Asheville.
It was your birthday,
My
but I got
birthday.
the gift.
And we learned so much from Nora Bateson. So this concept of warm data, that things cannot be understood out of context. It comes from her father, Gregory Bateson. And I love, lots of learnings that he left with us. So there's a lot of theory. There are different names. We can talk about schismogenesis or symmathecy, all of those words that I learned from Nora. But there is also the practical aspect of the theory. So how do we put in practice and actually understand the patterns, understand what's going on in order to be responsible for our thinking, like you say, we are what we think, and our doing.
Yeah.
So our being is all interconnected.
Yeah. And that reminds me, or maybe it's bringing me to the state of presence of something else. And when I said that, it is amazing to be having this conversation. And I mean, we have so many different conversations and probably beautiful conversations, I mean, in classes and deeper conversations, especially through all you've gone through over the last months. Even though I don't want to be living here as like it was last month, but it was in the past.
Yeah, in the past. It's
right?
gone. Yeah,
it's gone. But I would like to bring here exactly what, when I see as professional of the new era, And when I see BRIA Institute and all the transformation that you've been through over your life from the corporate world to where you started literally starting the business and where you are now, I would say that you are, to me, a true example of the professional of the new era.
Thank you.
Okay? Because it's, at the end of the day, it's knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge. And I mean, I keep looking at you and saying, oh my gosh, Adriana is like a combined, piece of books and information. And the most beautiful thing is how you bring it at practice and experiencing at BRIA Institute, because that's the place where we are, because we are at the end of the human beings.
Yeah.
We have the knowledge, but it's not about the knowledge itself. It's how we practice that knowledge and integrate it. And I see you as this example of human integration that turns into the professional of the new era.
Yeah.
And this is what I would like. I mean, I love to have you on stage, and you're always going to be on stage during the, I mean, as far as we are, I know you, and you are in Miami, and I'd say you're going to be on stage every year.
Okay, so you got it. You got it. The word that at least that I think summarizes it all is integration.
It is.
So BRIA is not about a lot of content. And that's one of the traps for leadership in the AI era.
Exactly.
It's not the amount of knowledge, but it's how you integrate it. And there are certain things that we do as humans that we can leverage the AI for quantity, but the abductive process of learning is much more complex than just having data combined, right?
Exactly.
Because we learn with all our senses. We learn from our experiences. And that's what we try to do at BRIA. We put innovation, so all of those new things we're learning, with practice, so putting this theory to practice.
Purpose.
And purpose, exactly. Because why are we here, right? I always start my conversation. What is life? Why are we here right now? This moment, having this conversation, there is a purpose. And if we are aware of it, it's much better.
Beautiful. And I would like to share something then that we experienced also in the corporate world. I remember when you invited me to a training session in a company, and it was
one
amazing. Right? Can you? How does that work in terms of are people open? Is HR literally open to see systems, and how is it? Because I mean,
it depends. It depends.
That's the big challenge at this moment.
Yeah, I think people are open. Organizations, some are open, and some are already doing great work. I ran into this organization in Portland, Oregon, the other day that they were working with generative AI that is regenerative for regeneration. So there's a lot of good work happening in the world and the workshops. So some companies already do fantastic workshops to bring more awareness to leadership, to bring purpose, to understand what their mission statements are, what their values are, what they stand by, and what kind of connects, because that's important. What connects towards something, right? So you talk about performance a lot. You can't have just performance out of the blue. You have to have a goal, and then you have performance towards that goal. And that's how companies usually go after profit, go after making money. But you don't have to hurt people and planet. While you're going after profit. That's all the concept of B Corps. BRIA is a B Corp, it's certified B Corp. So you do work as a business, you operate as a business, you are after profit, but the how matters. And I remember that from GE. GE was not a B Corp, but the how was very important too. You had all the metrics that you had to achieve, all your goals and objectives in terms of numbers and revenues, but you also looked at how the leader performed that. So there were values very clearly stated, and you had to self-assess whether you were using all of those values in your day-to-day to achieve your goals. And that kind of resonated with me. That's the integration. So you work in companies that are business as usual, you work in companies that are B Corps, you learn philosophy, you study warm data, but how does it all come together? So it's a life's journey, right? And I think maybe I've been in different places enough to kind of be able to put it all together, and anybody can do it. but come to Bria and let's do it together.
Yeah, and this is the beauty that I see in your work, because I've been seeing it since the beginning, and how you integrate and how you connect all of this knowledge and bring it to life in a very simple way, easy, like activities. I remember the case study that we have through this one of your programs called the CEO Meet and Master. That we go through the GE case, and it's amazing.
The Eco-Imagination case.
Yeah, it is huge.
Real case.
Real
it
case.
Happened.
Lots of money lost in the beginning, but at the end, a huge transformation of.
I wouldn't even say loss, but when you look at the investment, it was $20 billion in R&D, right? That they needed to put to create products that would meet the requirements for the Eco-Imagination standards, which was third-party certified and whatnot. But then at the end, they were able, to sell products from that project that, were worth $270 billion. So that's amazing.
It is.
Green is green. And that's
beautiful.
that was when nobody was doing this. So GE was leading this climate products, or emissions reduction, water consumption reduction, and energy efficiency.
Amazing.
Before anybody else. This was 2005.
Wow.
So it can work. You can,
I love that case study because it's real life. It's real
because
life.
you can align different business units. GE had all of those different business units. So from aviation to transportation to medical equipment to even capital, financial services, all the business units, they all had to come up with products and services, maybe not the services, but the products. So whoever manufactured something that had those three items. So it would reduce water consumption, it would increase energy efficiency, and it would also reduce emissions. And then with those standards, you innovate and you create products that help not only you, but your clients mitigate those risks.
Yeah,
and
this
those
is the new
problems.
momentum. Beautiful. And what do you see for the future? Maybe if you...
I see more of that. I see the regeneration. I see so many people doing good bioregional regenerative projects and learning from each other and getting together.
I see the same.
I see. I think Otto Scharman says aisles of coherence.
Yeah.
I see a lot of aisles of coherence. It's just that, unfortunately, the way our media and our communication system is built is to look for the bad or look for the disaster or look for the the critical risk, fear mongering.
And
kind
how
of,
about just moving your head a little bit to the other side, and you have like a huge
look
possibility,
around
right?
and you see it. Look around and you see it. It's not in the headlines, but it's happening. So how do we nurture more of those projects? How do you nurture more of those leaders that can help conduce life? How do you nurture your thinking to have more living thinking and not dead thinking? That's a big question.
Wow, and that is profound.
Yeah,
we gotta
that's
think.
good.
Yeah, it is, right? And that it's connecting me to the ACE program, which is the challenge that I've been inviting you to accept, and you did it, and and I know it's going to be amazing. Okay, which is like 7 minutes you're going to have like 12 slides, literally 12 slides, 35 seconds, and that you have to perform. The perform is not a performance; it's actually an expression of art. That reminds me one of the programs at Bria as well. I think it was at UM.
Yeah.
And deeply, someone said the new era is the era of art.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, because art is so connected to spirituality.
It is.
And I think we were discussing that in the panel you were in with Dr. Lisa Miller when she was saying that spirituality is innate. And the expression of that depends on, us, but we can nurture that in children. And we see that so easily when we are young, and unfortunately we lose. But
and
some people don't. Some people don't.
And inspired literally
artists.
the ACE program. The name ACE is coming from A is for art.
Okay.
C is for consciousness, which is more what we know.
The awareness.
The awareness and knowledge.
There,
And E is the essence, which is probably what when you know yourself, and then it connects science or connects knowledge to experience, but
Yep.
the expression of art
Yeah.
is what really connects.
So essence, expression, this
Yeah,
E is
essence, consciousness, and art.
yeah. A
And the
beautiful
ace
name.
is like becoming the ace speaker, who
Yeah.
is someone that can connect all the dots. Because at the end of the day, imagine um, on stage, you're not going to be just presenting. You have to dance with the slides. You have to dance with the audience. You
Yeah.
have to connect all those dots.
I think it's an evolution from what we did back then when we did the higher.
I
It
was
called
also
high
inspired
tech, high
by
wisdom. Yeah, high tech, high wisdom, and now we're calling it higher wisdom for a tech world. And when we did it, we invited the speakers to do it, and because we are so trained to do in a certain way, it's hard to unlearn and relearn.
Yes.
Remember, one of the speakers, Craig, also talked about that. So it's great that you're having this challenge, that you're, inviting us to challenge the status quo and to unlearn and relearn and how to express ourselves in this 7-minute dance.
Yeah.
I look forward to
it's
it.
also, I just, there's something also,
what?
piece of gold from that I learned at Bria, which is the adoption and not adopt. We should not adopt things, we should adapt. Right? It's where it was one of the classes that you were. You don't maybe not even remember, but
I don't
we
remember.
were.
Yeah, but
we were in. People start thinking about adopting some methodology or adopting or repeating things, but actually, at the end of the day, we need to adapt instead of.
Maybe when we were talking about complexity, because there is this element. So reality is complex, right? Everything's complex. Every problem that happens to us these days is a very complex problem. And if we look in a rigid way to try to control it,
Exactly.
we can't. So we can't control systems, complex systems even more.
Impossible.
But we can adapt to what happens. And then there is Donella Meadows.
Yes, exactly.
Donella Meadows used to say that you can't control systems, you can dance with systems.
Okay, exactly.
So take the beat, right? And dance with the system.
It's interesting because it is in my system already, because I did not connect at this moment. You just connected.
Yeah.
When I spoke about ACE, and the ACE was an inspiration from the movement that we also did at the event.
Yeah.
And then I also used the word dance, but I was not thinking about her.
Yeah.
You see?
Oh, but you remember one of the cohorts.
Oh my gosh.
No. One of the cohorts. Remember we had Rexley Banyard.
Yeah.
And she is from South Africa. She was the first
Yes, I did.
woman
Oh my
composer
gosh, the music.
of opera, in her time. And she was a participant in the program. And when she was studying Donella Meadows and she heard about dancing with systems, she composed a
I remember that.
a very beautiful and intricate piece of music called Dancing on Air.
Yeah.
So that's probably where you got
no.
dancing
And
from.
then we are going to bring that music on stage.
Oh, we have that.
Let's do it. Yeah,
we can do
Before you enter, or maybe after you present.
Oh my gosh.
Then we can sing along.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if we have the authorization by by the author. Yes, but she allowed us
or
to
maybe
use it
she
for
can
free.
come and join us.
Well, let's see. Yeah, we can invite her.
Adriana, it's been a pleasure having you here. It's like a huge book of knowledge, and you know this, and I want you to know about it. It is when I started this program, and I did not know that I would be getting so much maybe excited, or it was nervous, literally the word. But the idea here is like it's an honor to receive you here, and an honor to be your friend, because at the end of the day, we turn into humans and the connection between us. So thank you so much for being part of my journey, and thank you so much for trusting me when we initially got connected for the first time. And it's been literally an honor to be seeing how Bria is turning into a beautiful tree, as I tell you. It was a seed. And I remember the first time I spoke in the event, I brought to that attention that we are all seeds.
Yeah.
But Bria is literally a beautiful tree.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
it will become a forest.
Yeah. So you are honored to be part of BRIA, and I am honored to have you a part of BRIA too, because you've helped us pave this way to where we are now. And I think that this friendship, this relationship has turned into something very inspiring for both of us, and I hope it will continue to be so.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're dancing together.
Yes, we're dancing together.
Yeah. Any message at the end of this, just to leave the audience here on the podcast?
Let's go back to this magic word that you mentioned, integration. As you said, it's not a book of knowledge that matters, but it's how you integrate the knowledge you have. And whatever knowledge it is, it doesn't have to be a whole lot, but you go deep and you apply and you integrate. That's the beauty.
One step at each time, right?
Could be.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
I hope
having me.
we're going to have other possibilities and opportunities to be talking more about it. And I'll leave especially something, I don't usually do this, but something that I would like to leave here is more information about the BRIA Institute, that is also a partner at the Professional of the New Era, as we are always connecting things. And thank you so much for all the effort that students all over the world. How many countries?
Over 40 countries now. Yeah. And the plan is to have 2 cohorts per year. So we're going to have a cohort right after your event, and then another cohort the second half of the year. So 2 cohorts a year. Join us if you want to join this journey of integration, of unveiling new possibilities for leadership, of self-awareness and connection.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you all. And follow BRIA Institute, and look forward to seeing you on our next episode.
Thank you.